Y News with Angelo Castro III, William Theo, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. 2 people died in the municipality of Mandaluyong in the province of Cebu due to tropical depression Agaton. Here is why from Aiko Miguel.
Heavy rains continue to pour in Cebu since Sunday, which resulted into floods in some parts of the province. However, after storm signal number 1 was raised in the province, 2 people died in the municipality of Mandaluyong.
First is lifted na siya, no? Wala dili na ta-appeal karon sa mga lugar nga dunay signal, no? Warning. Pero ang problema lang ay namatian yung duha ka persona, no?
One of the victims was identified as 64-year-old Flora Basadre Matas. Authorities initially advised her to evacuate, but she refused to comply until her home was hit by a landslide. The other fatality, 39-year-old Richie Pimentel, jumped from their home due to extreme panic because of the strong winds and heavy rains. Meanwhile, some evacuees have already returned to their homes located in flood-prone areas like Sibonga, Barili, Dumanjog, Ronda, and in Toledo City. In line with this, the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office of Southern Cebu deployed 2 teams to determine the entire amount of damages caused by the typhoon. The teams will also look into the other needs of the residents affected by the calamity. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Some flights and province-bound trips have been cancelled today. Monokson will tell us why.
Nona Aguirre is among the stranded passengers at the Araneta bus terminal. She was first scheduled on a flight to Cebu City, Albay on January 1, but it was cancelled due to the bad weather. She went back to the airport today, but the flight was cancelled once again because the weather has not yet improved. Nona was left with no other choice but to take chances on traveling by land and headed to the Araneta bus terminal. She says it is imperative that she arrives in Legazpi before Thursday, in time for the burial of her in-law. But there is still no guarantee if Nona will be able to travel on time as the trip depends on the weather.
Sobrang stress talaga, sobrang stress. Siyempre, yung inaasahan mo, hindi mo na nakuha. Tapos mapapakaramdam ko dahil sa sobrang pagod, pabalik-balik.
Meantime, Araneta Bus Terminal Manager Mon Legazpi has announced the cancellation of the trips bound for Naga, Iriga, Masbate, Bato, Leyte, Tagbiliran, and Davao. The Manila International Airport Authority has also announced the cancellation of flights that affects Rojas, Legazpi, Caticlan, Masbate, and Puerto Princesa.
Hinihingi po namin ng konting pasensya at pangunawa para din sa mga bus na ito makatugon din sa kanilang pangailangan na may schedule na lang, reschedule na kanilang trip.
The Araneta Bus Terminal Management advises the passengers to just go home in case their trips get cancelled to prevent congestion of passengers in the terminal. The number of passengers at the Araneta Bus Terminal has now reached more than 3,000. This, however, is expected to lessen by tomorrow. The Araneta Bus Terminal and the airline companies will notify the passengers of the open schedule of flight and bus trip. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
6,000 passengers remain stranded at several ports across the country today. Here's why from Aiko Miguel.
The Philippine Coast Guard or PCG still prohibits sea vessels at several ports across the country from venturing into the sea due to the tropical depression Agaton. Based on the latest figures of the PCG, 6,469 passengers are still stranded at ports. Most of them are in eastern Visayas. The other stranded passengers are in western and central Visayas. Aside from this, a total of 165 rolling cargoes also are stranded at ports. According to PCG spokesman Captain Armand Balilo, passengers should remain at ports while waiting for clearance from Pag-asa to allow sea levels to venture out into the seas. Fishermen are also prohibited to sail, especially since bigger waves are expected due to the onslaught of Typhoon Agaton.
Kung malapit naman yung mga bahay ninyo, huwag na muna kayong pumunta sa terminal at makipag-ugnayan kayo sa shipping company, magpa-update kayo.
The PCG also advises the public to monitor updates from concerned government agencies regarding when sea vessels can venture out and travel to avoid accidents. The Coast Guard has not yet recorded any incidents due to the typhoon. The agency is also hoping that the typhoon will not cause any disaster. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Ports Authority provided free food and drinking water to stranded passengers of the Butuan Pier. Leslie Longboan will tell us why.
Due to several days of continuous rains in Butuan City, some motorboats have been prohibited today from venturing out into the seas going to Magallanes. Because of this, more than 100 passengers going to Cebu are stranded at the said port since yesterday. Port authorities could not say yet if the sea vessels will be allowed to venture out into the sea tomorrow after the weather slightly improved.
Noon namin ipatawag ang meeting with the Coast Guard and Marina to address this problem karon sa stranded. Kaya ang kukalyong they are doing their best also nga masulbad ni.
The management of the Philippine Ports Authority or PPA distributed free food and drinking water to stranded passengers who could not return to their homes located in remote areas.
Ana may free nga tubig nya. Kato ganing din nang buntag nagluto mamig agos kaldo pospas no. Ipakaon na mo sila. Pero ginagmay ka sana.
Meanwhile, some passengers call on port authorities to allow sea vessels from sailing, complaining they have been stranded for several days already.
Ang amo lang tana sir, kasabot man mi sir tungod sa weather nga na stranded mi diri. Kasabot gyud mi din ang amo sir bahangyo magud namo tana is once nga makalarga na tana ang barko is dapat gusto namo ba nga kami priority tana nga makasakay.
Leslie Longboan, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Some residents in the Visayas and Mindanao have already evacuated. Meanwhile, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, calls on the public to not disregard the emergency alerts and SMS warnings they receive in times of calamities. Here's why from Grace Kasi.
More than 600 families have voluntarily evacuated from their homes and now are staying at temporary shelters due to fears over the possible onslaught of Typhoon Agaton. The typhoon might affect areas in the Visayas and Mindanao such as Capiz, Zamboanga del Norte, Agusan del Sur, Agusan del Norte, Surigao del Sur, Surigao del Norte, and Dinagat Island. The number of stranded passengers at various ports across the country has now climbed to more than 3,000. Authorities expect the said numbers to further rise in the following days. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, records no casualty or missing person due to the typhoon. The NDRRMC strictly advises the public to follow the advisories of local officials in areas where the storm is expected to make landfall. The agency explains following advisories will help prevent casualties in times of calamities.
Hanggang sa kasalukuyan po, nakataas ang red alert status natin dito sa ating NDRRM Operations Center at patuloy ang pag-monitor sa mga ayuda na binibigay ng ating lokal na pamahalaan sa ating mga kababayan na nag-evacuate dahil sa naturang bagyo.
The agency has also appealed for understanding from public after receiving negative comments on social media. It can be noted some netizens complain of inconvenience when receiving emergency alert and SMS warning during an upcoming calamity.
Sana po maintindihan ninyo na ito po ay pagbibigay ng babala para po sa pagsiguro ng inyong kaligtasan. Na lalo na kung kayo ay flood prone or landslide prone po nakatira, agaran po kayong makakapag-evacuate sa mas ligtas na lugar.
Despite receiving negative comments, the NDRRMC says many are glad of receiving emergency alerts and warnings, noting it would help them immediately prepare for any calamity. The sending of emergency alert and text warning to the public is in accordance with the Republic Act 10639 or the Free Mobile Disaster Act. Grace Castin, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
The Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, targets to open to motorists all the bridges damaged by Tropical Storm Vinta before the end of January. Among the roads severely damaged by Tropical Storm Vinta are the Dalama, Daligdigan, and Pinuyak bridges in Lanao del Norte. DPWH is implementing a 24/7 construction of the affected bridges so the agency could achieve its target deadline. It is also studying the possibility of permanently replacing the severely damaged infrastructures.
Department of Health or DOH Sentinel hospitals recorded 392 cases of firecracker-related injuries from December 21 to date. 119 of the cases were due to piccolo, 43 were due to skyrocket, and several other cases were due to other prohibited firecrackers like luces, fountain, five stars, whistle bombs, pla-pla, and boga. 201 of the firecracker-related injuries are recorded in the National Capital Region or NCR. Based on the figures of DOH, there are 12 cases of finger amputations from firecracker blasts. DOH meanwhile clarifies that although the number of firecracker-related injuries has increased, it remains lower by 40% as compared to the 116 cases recorded, or 616 rather, cases recorded last January 2, 2017. The Philippine National Police Calabarzon considers as a success their campaign against the use of firecrackers and indiscriminate firing during the New Year revelry. Here's why from Joanano.
The cooperation of the public was a huge help in the decline in the number of firecracker-related injuries in the Calabarzon region. According to Philippine National Police or PNP Calabarzon spokesperson Police Superintendent Chita Del Gawiran, the number of firecracker-related injuries is lower by 39% as compared to last year. Police Regional Office 4A records 139 firecracker-related incidents from December 16, 2017 to January 2 of 2018. The number is lower than the 229 incidents recorded in the same period of 2016 and 2017. Most of the firecracker injuries were due to the use of the prohibited piccolo.
Malaking bagay din yung pagkikipag-operate ng ating mga kababayan, yung support nila din sa kampanya natin. Sana zero, no? But at least po, napababa po natin ng 39%. Masaya na rin po kami sa naging resulta. Although hindi natin talaga totally na-achieve yung zero.
Meanwhile, the victims of indiscriminate firing has risen this year as compared to only 2 cases recorded in the same period last year. The individuals who illegally discharged their firearms have already been identified. The Calabarzon police are set to file charges against them. No cop was involved in indiscriminate firing in Calabarzon. Authorities have confiscated an estimated of 215,000 peso worth of prohibited fireworks during police operations and checkpoints in the said region. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Let's take a look at the traffic situation now along some major roads in Metro Manila. On Monumento MacArthur Highway, vehicles are fast-moving on the lane going to Malinta. Motorists are also experiencing light flow of vehicles on the lane going to EDSA Recto Avenue. On 5th Avenue in C3, Caloocan City, the traffic is green and go on the lane going to A. Mabini. Vehicles are also fast-moving on the lane going to A. Bonifacio. On Alabang Sapori Road, motorists are experiencing moderate flow of vehicles on the lane going to Muntinlupa City and South Luzon Expressway or SLEX. While there is moderate to heavy traffic on the lane going to Ayala Alabang and Las Piñas City. Next on Y News. DOTr announces an initial 500 modern jeepney units to hit the road this January. Embassy officials advised Filipinos in Saudi Arabia to spend wisely as the Saudi government imposes 5% value-added tax on basic goods. And experts share tips to save money amid increase in prices of services and goods this year. Y News will be right back. The Department of Transportation announces that 500 units of modern jeepneys are expected to ply roads across the country beginning this month. Here's why from Joanano.
The Department of Transportation or DOTr has finalized a route rationalization plan for Metro Manila, Tacloban, and other areas across the country. With this, the DOTr has begun the implementation of the Duterte administration's Jeepney Modernization Program. DOTr Undersecretary for Road Transport Tomas Orbo says about 500 units of modern jeepneys are set to be deployed on roads this month. Aside from this, the DOTr will also begin next week the strict apprehension of old jeepney units, particularly the units that will fail to pass roadworthiness test or the Motor Vehicle Inspection System or MVIS.
Kasi nga, mangyayari nga mag-MVIS ka lang kung magpaparegisto ka, pero it does not mean na tumatakbo ka ngayon hindi ka namin pupunahin kung nakikita namin na mausok ka o di kaya ay wala kang ilaw, wala kang brake light. Lahat po yan, pag nakita on the road yan, huliin ka namin.
Transport personnel will impound all apprehended public utility vehicles and bring them to the compound of the Land Transportation Office or might be directly placed under MVIS. Meanwhile, the DOTr has once again clarified that jeepney fares will not increase despite the implementation of the modernization program. The agency explains the possible increase in fares will be due to the rise in the prices of petroleum products caused by the tax reform law.
There will be no fare increase because of modernization. Ang sinasabi kong increase because of the fuel increase na nararanasan na natin.
Some jeepney drivers have once again appealed to the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB to approve their fare increase petition of 2 pesos.
Kailangan mo talaga, minimum 10. Kasi katulad ngayon, mataas na yung presyo ng gasolina. Ganun. Kaya medyo mabigat nung sa amin yung 8.
Kahit 12 pesos nga Kasi 3 pesos ang dadagdag Dagdag pa sakit nun sa amin yan.
Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
The Philippines finds itself among the top 10 happiest, most hopeful, and optimistic economies for 2018 based on the Gallup International Association survey. Here's why from Rosalie Cos.
The start as well as the end of year 2017 for Filipinos was not smooth sailing because of wars, tragedies, challenges, and controversies. However, Filipinos remain hopeful for the year 2018. This is based on the opinion survey conducted in 55 countries by Gallup International, an international polling and research organization. The survey was done through interview of more than 53,000 individuals throughout the world, in which each country was represented by around 1,000 individuals questioned through the internet or over the telephone from October to December 2017. The Philippines is the 9th most optimistic country for this year, while Indonesia is top 1. The Philippines is also the 5th country that hopes for more prosperous economy and the 3rd among the happiest countries in the world. Meanwhile, a number of Filipinos appreciate the initiatives of the current administration.
Pagsumpo ng sa droga po.
Para sa akin yung tax reform mo na makakatulong sa iba, pero sa negative na side, parang hindi din tama.
However, many also believe that the self-discipline and support of each Filipino is essential in making the Philippines a better nation.
Actually, ang malaking hamon ang pag hindi disiplinado ng mga Pilipino. Yun. Kasi marami naman pinapatupad, lalo kayo sa media, alam niyo yan. Pero kapag hindi sumunod ang Pinoy, wala. Useless. Tayo rin ang gagawa ng ating bayan.
Sa tingin niyo po ba malaki factor yung ginagawa ng pamahalaan para mas maging okay ang Pinas?
Opo naman po, ginagawa po nila siguro yung best nila, pero sa atin nga po, naka-base din talaga sa atin. Kaya tulungan po na lang natin sila.
Meanwhile, Presidential Communications Secretary Martin Andanar says the government is determined to maintain such degree of happiness among the citizenry by ensuring a strong economy, good and effective governance, and lasting peace and justice. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Some experts share tips on how the public can save money amid the expected increase in the prices of products and services this year. Juan Oxon will tell us why.
Business and financial consultant Rosel Rey believes there are many simple ways to save money. She says one of this is to eat at home or bring drinking water before going out to avoid spending more money. Rey also advises the public to make a list of grocery and look for alternative products which are cheaper than their branded counterparts. Instead of buying at malls or supermarkets, Ray notes it would be cheaper to do groceries at public markets, which offer commodities at cheaper prices. To save time and transportation fare, the business and financial expert advises the public to wake up early to avoid traffic and to recycle materials when needed.
Hindi lahat ng bagay binibili. Marami tayong pwedeng i-recycle, i-reuse ng mga gamit na pwede nang, like, halimbawa, mga ketchup bottles, pwede nating paggagamitan pa sa ibang bagay. Meron tayong mga old clothes na pwede nating gawin para kay baby naman o para sa mga bunsong anak.
According to economist Wilson Lee Flores, the public should save money although the economy is expected to further improve this year.
I-save mo 10% o 20%, itabi mo na dapat yun. Tapos yung natira mong pera, yun ang pagkakasyahin mo.
Ms. Ray, meanwhile, notes the public should not resort to saving money only, but also target to make it grow.
Ang bottom line kasi natin sa pagtitipid, para meron tayong future goal na ini-meet. Yung future goal na yon, pwedeng magkaroon tayo ng savings na kakailanganin natin kung tayo magnenegosyo. Savings na kakailanganin natin kung gusto nating mag-invest. Para yung pera naman natin kumita.
Rosalem began working at an early age. She noticed that her income is not enough to sustain a living. That's why, aside from a job, she also invested at coffee shop with some of her friends.
Mag-invest ka sa business, oo, iisipin mo, malaking take ng risk yan kasi puro labas yung pera mo eh. Paano mo masasabing may savings ka? Labas ka nga ng labas ng pera. Pero after ilang months, pag na-compute mo na siya, makikita mo na return of investment ka pala.
The public will experience the impact of the additional taxes approved by President Rodrigo Duterte. This includes the increase in the prices of petroleum products and other commodities. Lawmakers, meanwhile, vow of taking steps to ease the burden the additional taxes will give by implementing programs that would help the poor. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Labor groups mull about petitioning for wage increase following the implementation of the tax reform law. May Bermudez will tell us why.
Before the implementation of tax reform for acceleration and inclusion or TRAIN law, a 3,200 peso income tax was being deducted from the monthly salary of CJ Oliveros, an electrical engineer. But although he's now exempted from paying this obligation under the law, CJ still appeals for wage hike due to impending increase in prices of fuel and commodities.
Sana hindi lang kaming mga professional, kahit yung mga nasa baba, yung mga para lahat sana magkaroon ng increase this year. Kasi kung tataas talaga yung mga presyo, sana lahat, para masaya lahat.
Labor group Buklurang Manggagawang Pilipino says it will first scrutinize the effects of the law prior to submission of a wage hike petition.
Tatamaan talaga yung mga manggagawa, lalo na yung mga minimum wage earner, na wala silang pakinabang sa tax exemption ngayon dahil matagal na silang exempted.
The group continuously appeals to President Rodrigo Duterte for an additional 1,200 peso monthly income for minimum wage earners. The Associated Labor Unions Trade Union Congress of the Philippines meantime will monitor the movement in prices of goods and commodities to find out if the said law will have a big effect to ordinary citizens.
Kahit hindi pa June, pag nakita namin na nahihirapan na yung ating mga kababayan dahil sa pagtaas ng mga commodities at mga services, of course, kahit wala pang 1 year, mag-file kami ng wage increase petition.
The Employers Confederation of the Philippines, or ECOP, however, says it is still too early to discuss the wage increase.
I really think the increases, we have to see what kind of increases, how it affects consumer price index. I guess we will not see anything until the end of this year. So it's really too premature.
May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Philippine Embassy in Saudi Arabia advises overseas Filipino workers there to spend wisely and as much as possible save money. Here's why from Bong Noquesa.
The imposition of the government of Saudi Arabia of a 5% value-added tax or VAT will affect the Arab nation's food and beverage industry, petroleum products, rents of commercial establishments, remittance fee, and domestic transportation, among others. The VAT already resulted into an increase of almost 55% in prices of gasoline. With this, electricity rates will go to up to 300%. Overseas Filipino worker or OFW Raymond Tolosa is already complaining because of a 10% rise in school tuition this year. He worries it will further increase next year because of the additional taxes.
Mas maganda nga po, pauwi nila yung mga estudyante kasi mas mahal pa yung babayaran dito kumpara sa Pilipinas.
However, Philippine Ambassador to Saudi Arabia Adnan Alonto notes some Philippine schools in the Arab country might be exempted from the additional taxes if can prove that they are community schools.
For schools that have requested for certification, tumulog po kayo sa embassy, makaasa po kayo na ang embassy po ay will come out with a statement po na kayo i-exempt.
Exempted from the additional taxes are residential rents, medicines, and medical equipment. It was in 2016 when the Unified Agreement for VAT of the Cooperation Council for Arab States of the Gulf was released. The United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, and Saudi Arabia are among the Arab countries that signed the agreement. The VAT is a financial measure of Saudi Arabia which will become one of its non-oil revenue sources. According to Ambassador Alonto, with this development, Filipinos based in Saudi Arabia should learn how to properly save money.
Ganun maano ang Pilipino dyan eh. Matiisin tayo, na marunong tayo mamaluktot para sa ating mga pamilya.
Bong Duquesa, UNTV News and Rescue, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
The Philippine National Police Chief Police Director General Ronald De La Rosa came to the defense of the Mandaluyong police involved in the mistaken identity incident in Mandaluyong City. Here's why from Roderick Mendoza.
Malungkot ako sa kinahihinatnan nila at hanapan ko pa rin ang paraan na matutulungan ko sila sa kanilang kaso.
Philippine National Police Chief Police Director General Ronald Bato de la Rosa shares his sentiments on what came about after Mandaluyong police found themselves involved in a mistaken identity incident that killed 2 people and wounded 2 others. De la Rosa says even with such big mistake, the Mandaluyong police was able to show how quick they responded to the incident, which should always be the case.
May pagbayabang ko pa rin na nangyari yon because of their performance of their duties. Pumunta sila, nag-responde sila dahil sa report. Yung nga lang, naguyo sila sa mali na report.
De la Rosa also made an appeal to Police Senior Inspector Maria Cristina Vasquez, the leader of the said responding police team, to surrender after going on absence without leave or AWOL.
So ngayon, kung nakikinig yung pulisuman na yon, sana mag-surrender ka para hindi ka masasubject to manhunt operation pag lumabas yung warrant mo. Magiging subject ka ng manhunt operation, kawawa ka.
The police chief also orders the arrest of all armed village or barangay tanod or watchmen, saying that this group of people should only be carrying batons or stick.
I am giving instructions to all members of the PNP. Hulihin nyo lahat ng tanod dyan na armado. Magalit na kung magalit yung mga mayor dyan na mga busing ng mga tanod na yan, wala akong pakialam. Hulihin niyo yan dahil that is illegal.
Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The employees and a guest of a hotel in Pasay City lost about 3.5 million pesos worth of cash, belongings, and jewelry this morning. Rajel Adora will tell us why.
The CCTV footage of the Mabuhay Manor Hotel shows how 4 suspects came in and robbed hotel employees and its guests at 3 o'clock this morning. The suspects ran away with around 3.5 million pesos worth of cash, personal belongings, and pieces of jewelry. What was taken from the hotel itself only amount to 33,000 pesos cash and the .38 revolver pistol of the security guard. The one who lost much was the hotel guest, Dominador Castro, an overseas Filipino worker. Taken from him was $15,800 US, gadgets worth $7,000 US, a Rolex wristwatch worth $30,000 US, and sets of jewelry amounting to around $30,000 US. Castro says his family, who was about to check out when the incident happened, were all shocked and felt helpless.
Natutukan ako, dapa, papatayin kita. Ano, kagad eh. Tapos yun, dapa, papatayin ko kayo. Dapa, walang titingin. Yun lang.
First time eh. Kaya sabi ko na high blood na ako. Sabi ko, baka, pwede akong makainin ng tubig. Ganyan.
Yung security, isikpita nila. Kasi lalo ngayon, season, di ba? Maraming mga bakasyonista, maraming mga kabayan na mag-stay dito.
The Southern Police District says the suspects disconnected the hotel's telephone line, which made it impossible for the employees to immediately report the matter to them. The authorities are also looking into the accountabilities of the hotel management on the incident.
Kung may lapses yung management, hotel management, yung motel management, yung security guards, the staff, isasama natin yan.
Rajala Dora, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Meanwhile, a lawyer and Marcos loyalist is proposing a compromise deal between the government and the Marcoses in relation to the family's hidden wealth. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
A deal between the government and the Marcoses over the family's hidden wealth is being pushed once again. In the proposed compromise agreement submitted by Attorney Oliver Lozano, the Marcos family and the government will share the hidden wealth for a still unspecified percentage. The deal excludes the ill-gotten wealth which were already decided by the court, such as the former First Lady's pieces of jewelry. In return, the government will stop from running after the family and will speed up the resolution of the pending cases against the Marcoses. Lozano, who is a known Marcos loyalist, claims the family knows about this.
Sir, may blessing lahat na ito ng mga Marcos?
Oh yes. Oh my blessing. Oh my blessing.
He clarifies there was no proposal of immunity for the Marcoses.
There is no request for immunity because the immunity is already provided by the Constitution. Article 18, Section 26. Ang sabi doon, wala nang sequestration. Wala ng judicial action.
But a spokesman of former Senator Bongbong Marcos disowns Lozano, saying the family has nothing to do with him nor the proposed deal.
Wala siyang authority to represent anyone, more so to bind anyone, any member of the family. Neither the estate of the late President Ferdinand Marcos.
Malacanang Palace also denied having an agreement with the Marcos family. Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Secretary Salvador Panelos says they received the document from Lozano out of courtesy, but no action has been taken about it yet. However, in his letter to Lozano, Panelos says they will further study the proposal. Lozano estimated the Marcos wealth to be enough to pay all the country's debts. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation will soon distribute the 182 million pesos worth of insurance to farmers whose crops were affected by Typhoon Vinta last December. Department of Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol says around 20,000 farmers from Central Mindanao, Region 7, Zamboanga Peninsula, Northern Mindanao, Davao, Caraga, and the ARMM will benefit from the insurance. The insurance payments will be distributed to the farmers on January 4 and 5. Coming up on Y News, South Korea offers high-ranking government talks with North Korea on January 9. World Food Program calls for more support from the international community to combat increase in incidents of global hunger. And volunteers of UNTV and MCGI distribute goodie bags and offer free medical services to overseas Filipino workers in Singapore. More from Y News after this break.
Wishful contender from Batangas City qualifies for Recovery Grand Finals. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
Two Batanggenyas battled for Wishcovery semi-finals last week. Resident reactors Annie List and Junjunior say this has been one of the toughest rounds. Carmela Ariola of Batangas City shone brighter with her own version of alternative rock song Ako'y Sayo, Ika'y Akin.
Gusto manalo! Alright! Woo! Meron pa.
But the main performance was amazing. Nararamdaman ko yung namnam niya yung sakit.
However, reactors were also wowed with Santo Tomas Batangas' pride, Audrey Malaibas' attack to Someday.
Disconnect to yung
Very evident yung Mariah tones niya.
Yes!
Nagamit niya to her advantage.
Yes.
Paos and all.
Oo.
Sa mga sinabi ng mga reactors na once you sing the song, feel it. Make it your last performance, pero kailangan best talaga.
There are only 2 slots left for the Wishcovery Grand Finals. This week is Diana Tabitha Caro and Louie Ann Culalos' turn to sing it out to the final round. Their performances may be viewed on Wish 107.5's YouTube channel. Leslie Lomboan, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The volunteers of UNTV and Members Church of God International, or MCGI, have once again surprised our fellow Filipinos in Singapore on the last day of 2017. Here's why from Myla Guevara.
For the second time, the volunteers of UNTV and Members Church of God International, or MCGI, donated goodie bags to overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, in Lucky Plaza in Singapore.
Tuwang-tuwa po ako na nakarating po ako dito. Hindi ko po in-expect na mayroon po palang libreng public service dito na side. Thank you so much po.
Alongside the weekly public services like free medical check-up and free calls, the group of volunteers also entertained our fellow Filipinos.
Sana i-bless pa ni Lord ang public service na ito at sana i-bless pa po si Brother Daniel at saka si Brother Eli at sa ating lahat po na OFW, malaking tulong po ito sa ating lahat. Thank you po.
Pasalamat ko po sa public service ito kasi ang daming naitulong sa akin. Ang dami ko natutunan tulad ng libreng learning computer. Saka, doon ko natutunan ng tungkol sa katotohanan, about sa salita ng Diyos. So dito ako natuto.
Around 200 Filipino domestic helpers were able to avail the free services. Volunteers were thankful for having such opportunity to do good to others.
Malaking bagay po sa kanila na mapasaya po natin ang kanilang mga kalooban. Kaya sa tulong at awa ng Diyos, kami po nagpapasalamat dito sa Singapore sa mga ganitong gampanin po na nagagawa natin dito.
Volunteers from MCGI and UNTV are grateful to be of service to our compatriots here in Singapore. They say it is a fulfilling duty to see them smile despite the longing that they endure from being away from their families. Myla Guevara for Serbisyong Kasambahay.
Those are the reasons behind the news, January 2, 2018. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am William Theo.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Why News.